In 2022, Josh Jacobs was the best running back in the NFL, getting the most yards and scoring 12 touchdowns. But his journey to the NFL was tough. He used to be a homeless kid in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and now he's a big NFL star. How did he do it? This is the story of Josh Jacobs. Growing up in North Tulsa, Oklahoma, Josh Jacobs was raised by his dad, Marty. After Josh's parents separated, Marty got full custody of him and his 4 siblings, even though they struggled financially before the split. Marty couldn't afford a decent place to live, so he ended up taking care of all 5 kids on his own. Not knowing what to do, Marty worked hard to make money and keep his kids safe. Sometimes, they had no place to stay and slept in the car at night. When they could afford it, they stayed in a cheap hotel room, unpacking for the night before packing up again the next day and hitting the road. In an interview with SportsCenter, Josh talked about these tough times, highlighting the challenges they faced as a family. Josh has shared that football played a crucial role in saving his life, and his talent as a standout running back has positively impacted not only him, but also his entire family. It all began at McLean High School in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Jacobs became a football star by rushing for 5,272 yards and scoring 56 rushing touchdowns. His dedication to training in both the weight room and on the field was praised by his former high school teammates. They saw him as an inspiration for future McLean athletes. According to Jacobs, playing football in high school became an outlet for him. It allowed him to forget about everything else and focus solely on the game, where he excelled. Despite facing challenges while growing up, football gave him a reason to work hard and stay focused. He became known as the hardest working kid in the room, always ready to put in the effort. However, getting noticed by college recruiters was not easy for Jacobs. Despite leading the state in rushing, his outstanding performances didn't receive much attention.
The play. He's right there with a chance. Matt Collins is responsible for trying to block.
It wasn't until December of his senior year that he finally received a scholarship offer from an FBS school. Despite averaging 15 yards per carry with over 2,700 rushing yards and 31 touchdowns in his senior season, Josh Jacobs believed that the reason colleges weren't noticing his football skills was because of the reputation of his hometown and the high school he played for. Gerald Smith, one of his high school coaches and a recruiting coordinator, came up with an idea. He suggested that Josh should create a Twitter account and share his highlights and stats there. Smith thought this could help him get noticed by colleges, specifically mentioning the possibility of playing for Alabama. As National Signing Day approached, Josh Jacobs' recruitment gained momentum. He started receiving offers from various schools, including local ones like Purdue, Iowa State, and Missouri, as well as the notable Oklahoma Sooners. However, it was the prominent SEC school, Alabama, that caught his attention. Despite being labeled as a 3-star recruit, Jacobs decided to visit the Alabama Crimson Tide, coached by Nick Saban, even though it was over 700 miles away. He made up his mind on National Signing Day and committed to Alabama. Josh's journey from being a homeless young man sleeping in a car with his family to becoming an SEC running back was truly remarkable. But his story didn't end there. When he joined Alabama, new challenges and opportunities awaited him. He worked really hard, harder than anyone else, in the way he knew best. Because of his strong work ethic and dedication to the team, Jacobs got to play in his first year at the university, which is not common at such a prestigious school with a famous coach like Nick Saban. Even the legendary Coach Saban saw something special in Jacobs. In his first year, Jacobs ran with the football 86 times and gained 564 yards, scoring 4 touchdowns. He also caught the ball 14 times for 166 yards. When the NFL draft happened in 2019, Jacobs had spent 3 years at Alabama, scoring 15 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving touchdowns. He played a big part in helping Alabama win both the SEC championship and the CFB national championship. During his time in college, he was even named the MVP of the SEC championship game for his great performance against Georgia. There was a tough time when Jacobs played even though he had the flu. He had to get an IV shot before the game, 2 during the game, and 1 after. He also took oxygen on the sidelines whenever he could. He felt really thirsty every time he came off the field, and it felt like he couldn't breathe well during the whole game. In his second year, Jacobs played with a broken ankle for most of the season, which made it tough for him to perform at his best. Despite that, he still ran for 640 yards and scored 11 touchdowns in a pass-first offense. People recognized him as a hardworking player with a blue-collar attitude, and he was ready to take his skills to the next level. At Jacobs' Pro Day in Alabama, his coach, Nick Saban, praised his strong work ethic. Saban emphasized that Jacob always gave his best effort, whether the team was winning by a lot or not. Jacobs' versatility in playing different positions and skills made him stand out, earning him recognition from one of the top college football coaches. During the draft, the Oakland Raiders chose Jacobs as the 24th overall pick and the first running back in the 2019 draft's first round. This marked a significant turning point in Jacobs' life, validating his dedication and hard work. With a $6.7 million signing bonus, he immediately showed gratitude by buying a house for his father, who had always supported and guided him. Despite facing numerous challenges as a family, Jacobs proudly announced a few months later that he had bought his father a house. This heartfelt gesture brought the story full circle. A young man who had tirelessly worked to be his best now had the means to express gratitude to his father in a profound way. A touching video captured the moment Jacobs' father, with tears in his eyes, leaned on the kitchen counter of their new home, sharing an emotional embrace with his son. Josh Jacobs, a really down-to-earth guy, talked about his early years when he didn't have a stable home or even a bed to call his own. Those tough times made him appreciate the little things in life. Fast forward to his rookie year with the Raiders, and he marked his debut on Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos with his first professional touchdown. He pulled off a move reminiscent of Marcus Allen, leaping over the pile and reaching the football over the goal line in his Raiders jersey. Just 4 weeks later, Jacobs achieved his first 100-yard game, rushing for 123 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns against the Chicago Bears. By the end of his rookie season, he totaled 1,050 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. The following year, in 2020, he continued to impress, amassing 1,065 yards and 12 touchdowns on the ground and adding 238 yards in the passing game. This earned him his first Pro Bowl honors. In the subsequent year, Jacobs fell slightly short of the 1,000-yard mark, but still managed to collect 872 yards and 9 touchdowns. The Raiders, under new management, decided not to extend his contract, which turned out to be the motivation Jacobs needed to have a standout year in 2022. During Week 4 of the 2022 season, Jacobs went on a 3-game rampage, running for over 140 yards each against the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, and Houston Texans. His stellar performance included scoring 6 touchdowns, with a remarkable 3-touchdown outing against the Texans in a 38-20 victory. In the last part of the season, he had a really great game against the Seattle Seahawks. He ran for 229 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. The game was tied at 34, and in overtime, he made a big 86-yard run for the winning touchdown. That was the longest run of the season for him. For the whole season, he ran a total of 1,153 yards, which is a lot. He set new personal records for the most yards in a single game, the average yards he ran per carry, and the total number of times he carried the ball, 340 times. He was the best in the whole league for running, but he was just a little behind Derrick Henry from the Tennessee team in the number of carries. Because of his excellent performance, he got some big awards. He was named a first-team All-Pro for the first time, and he was selected for the Pro Bowl for the second time in 3 seasons. Now, as he looks ahead to free agency, he can proudly say that this was the best year of his football career. Despite facing tough times, he never gave up. He finished his first 4 years in the NFL, earning a total of $11.9 million. The Raiders liked him so much that they signed him again for the 2023 season for about $11 million. But football isn't the only thing Josh cares about. He also does a lot of good in the community. He works with different organizations to help young people who don't have homes. There's even a commercial about him that was shown during the Super Bowl. It tells the story of how he went from showering after high school practice and sleeping in his car to becoming a star player in the NFL. Josh Jacobs is a great example of someone who works hard to reach the top. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to our channel for more updates and exciting content.